Address what happened last week. Obviously not up to standard from a special team standpoint. I got to coach better. We got to play better. We got to execute better. Taking advantage of every scoring opportunity we have from a field goal standpoint is critical. Obviously, you guys know the score differential in this league is very tight. So whether it be a PAT or whether it be a field goal, it's critical that we go out there with the expectation to make it. Kicking in the Northeast isn't easy, all right, but playing in the National Football League isn't easy either. So taking the opportunity and thriving in those situations is something we got to do. And then in terms of coverage, we got to be able to tackle better, and it's all 11. It's all 11 from the location to tackling on punt. That's a big thing for us, point of emphasis. I know our guys are young and hungry to be able to correct things needed. And I know our guys are excited for an opportunity against a really good opponent. So with that, I'll take some questions.
How much conversation was there between the coaching staff and Koo? Because it seemed like Koo was struggling in warm-ups in that direction. And like at the end of the third quarter, you could have managed the clock maybe a little differently and got him kicking in the other direction. So how much was there like, we don't want to kick in that direction versus like, hey, you kick whatever direction you're going?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest here, we have lots of discussions from a coaching standpoint. At the end of the day, you're not always given the opportunity to certainly kick one way based off of prior calls and time on the clock and all that. And you do have a certain line going a certain direction when the weather is what it is. But ultimately, a veteran kicker who we had a lot of confidence in his ability to execute those kicks. And that's something that I know he'd want back and we'd want back, but just got to be better there.
Sauls, what have you seen from him since he's been here?
Yeah. For a rookie, and a guy that hasn't necessarily had a regular season game yet, he's wise beyond his years. So he approaches the game like a true pro. I think from his days back at Pitt, Coach Narduzzi has done one great job with them. And then part of that is also being, you guys know, in Pitt, sharing the same stadium, being able to kick in an NFL stadium, I think has also allowed him to, grow up quicker. So when he has obviously showed up here, he's worked his tail off. He's gotten operations with the specialists, so this won't be new to him. He's excited for the opportunity, and we have ultimate confidence in him.
Oh, he's a lefty, right?
Yeah.
So
yep.
how does being a lefty change, obviously, the whole process of that?
Yeah. Well, the holder's on the other side, for one. The rotation of the ball may look different. So sometimes when you're just looking at a righty, it's unique to just see the rotation look different. When Ben got here, I think one of the biggest things is, from a holding standpoint, we made certain that he got enough operation time, and just in terms of his transformation and him growing as a younger player, not knowing when his opportunity was going to be. So just getting comfortable with the operation of the other side. Obviously, to him, it looks normal. Just the fact of the matter is there's not as many lefty kickers in this league. So getting the whole specialist crew comfortable with those situations has been there, and I know the guys are ready to perform.
Mike, you had the 2 punt returns the last 2 games.
Yep.
So what was the biggest issue you saw, and how does that get corrected?
Yeah. Part of it, again, it takes all 11. All right, from the snap to the kick location, those things got to tie into what we're doing from a formational standpoint. The second thing is we got to be able to get off blocks out of the stack in terms of the interior. And then ultimately, when you get off blocks, it allows you to tackle more freer. When you're engaged with the person, being able to tackle a dangerous returner and be able to fight off a block late, sometimes you're getting pushed just right by towards the point of attack. So certainly improvements needed in that facet. And then in terms of gunner play, just getting in front of the returner primarily, and whether the kick location is outside the numbers in the alley in the middle of the field, the understanding that you have to stop the vertical of the returner and stay in front, I think is critical. So like I said, it's all 11, including myself. I'm not exempt from that. So certainly something we've brought a point of emphasis to the past couple of weeks. We got to continue to improve those things. And our guys are hungry and they'll be ready to attack.
How much do you talk about having a line and stuff? How much is that based on, a guy like Koo has kicked forever, but like just what they do that day? Like how much do warm-ups factor in, or is it, hey, he made 50 yards, for years? Yeah, no, a lot. The day of the game is critical. So although you're anticipating what type of weather you're facing, until you go out there and certainly feel what that is,
that's going to affect the line. Whether the wind's at your back, whether the wind's at your face, whether you have a crosswind, that's certainly something that you got to feel pregame. And sometimes 90 minutes before the game is going to be different right before the game, and that could change at halftime. So it's fluid, and then you start to deal with score differential. So all those things start to factor. You do go into the game with a line, and that's just more so off of ability in opportune conditions. But at the same time, you got to be ready to adapt, and obviously ongoing discussions throughout the game and feel is certainly something we mold throughout the game.
How much does it feel like you haven't been able to get off this carousel of kickers if I went back, I think Greg Joseph who was here yet last year?
Yep.
Greg, if I go back to that, Gillen, I think you've had 5 or 6 different people kick for you guys the last 2 years. Before you were here, they had more guys the year before. How much does that just need to stop and get some consistency at that?
Well, at the end of the day, whoever we put out there, we're going to, work our tail off with and have confidence in them. From a special team standpoint, whether it's that position or another position, injuries happen throughout football, and that's something that's our job is to get the next person ready. At the end of the day, like, we have had multiple kickers kick for us this year, and it's an important position, a critical position to winning football games, and something we certainly, hold of utmost importance. So, like I said, the next man up, we got to get that guy ready and be ready to execute.
We'll take a couple more.
Anybody? You're making a case for Gibson or Amir to get called up, because when I see it, I'm talking about last week, obviously, and I guess if Gunnar couldn't go this week. Because when I see it, it's like the other team has returned 2 punt returns for touchdowns against you guys, and according to Kafka, you're just telling Holland to fair catch it. So that seems like a big difference. One team's trying to score touchdowns, and one team's just trying to catch the ball.
Yeah, so this is what I would say to that. When you're dealing with a roster on game day and understanding that you don't have endless amount of players to be able to elevate, that also has something to deal with it. Whether there be injuries at certain positions, ultimately you have to make decisions based off of what's best for the football team. And Javon Holland is a guy that goes back there every day in practice and catches it really well. Number one responsibility of a returner is to safely secure all possessions, and Javon Holland has that. Javon also has run skill. He's a special athlete. So he's going to be convicted when he gets opportunities to make the right decisions, number one, not force them. But obviously when the ball's in his hands, he's not afraid to be able to execute in that regard as well. So when Javon's out there, we still have confidence in him to be able to execute at a high level and be able to change a game. At the end of the day, like I said, it's whatever helps this football team, everybody on that active roster in terms of winning that football game, that's what we're here for. It's a team game. It takes everybody on the football field, takes everybody in the locker room, everybody. So